This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius. I had the best words. Tolerated. I know words. Mike Pounds. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation. But there's no better word than stupid. Anonymous, really anonymous. I'm very highly educated. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. Had the best words. God bless the United States.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police.
Stupid.
Nation, Waldorf Nation. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Wednesday. We got a show. We got fun. We have wokeness. We're talking about the woke. That's right.
The wokers.
Fun segment. Conservatives trying and failing to define woke again and again and again. Yes. We have that. We've got Marjorie Greene saying ridiculous things, and maybe even spilling national security secrets. At least when it comes to the border. We'll get to that. Oh boy. Then Elon Musk, an example of how the Twitter takeover has allowed for some of the more unsavory characters to come back to the social media platform. And ironically, this is going to be related to the story about Marjorie Greene. Fun. Then, of course, Republicans come for food benefits. Big surprise. And, oh, look, another Trump company under investigation. Great. Okay. All right. So, yeah, we've got some interesting stuff to talk about. As usual, the mix of ghouls and goblins, terrible people. You know how it is. I mean, wow. Yeah. There's too many terrible people.
I'm sick of all these witches and warlocks.
I know. I agree.
It's not human intelligence.
Okay. All right. So, anyway, we're going to have some fun. Look, I just want to take a moment to apologize for being late. Let me just note that when I started, for a while I was on time. And then the Adderall shortage. So I'm a mess without my medication. So please bear with me. There are going to be days where I have very, very poor time management. And unfortunately, I do everything that I can, but it is difficult to, do certain things when you have ADHD and you don't have the right medication to, deal with the things that you need to deal with. But I'm going to try my best. I'm going to continue to do my best to give you good shows, entertaining shows, and hopefully, eventually, things will get back to normal once, I'm able to get access to that medication. So, it is what it is, man. It's rough. I suspected it was related to that. Yeah, because this is not normally the way that I like to operate the show. I do like to be on time. I do like to be punctual. But some days can't do it. And so you fellow ADHD years, you kind of understand that. All right. Well, that said, why don't we have fun and you know, get into the woke. Let's talk about the woke. Wait.
Woke mob.
Okay, here we go. Now let's do it.
So this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral.
That was conservative columnist Bethany Mandel having a bit of a difficult time defining woke. Now, she was asked on Rising, hey, what do you think woke is? I mean, you keep saying woke. What exactly is woke? And of course, she didn't have an answer. And just as she foretold, the moment did go viral. And it's because of the host, in this case, Briahna Joy Gray, who actually, look, I've been critical of her in the past, some of the stuff that she said, but I think this was perfect. She did something that virtually no host on cable news ever does. When a conservative starts going off about, oh, woke this, woke that, everything's woke, it's wokety woke. They never ask, okay, what's woke? Like, please define woke for me. And then press them on it. And in her case, she couldn't. She just did not have the ability to do so. Now, of course, later on, she did come up with a hilariously wrong answer. But before I get to that, she started this argument by saying, you know, few Americans, they actually consider themselves very liberal, and fewer of them consider themselves to be woke. Now, if we're going to talk about labels, she may be correct. But remember, we're going to go beyond the labels, beyond the surface here. We're going to look at policies. Policies, for example, teaching things like, I don't know, racism. And for that, I go to some polling. Recent polling from USA Today Ipsos, for example. They found that 72% of Americans actually support teaching the ongoing effects of slavery and racism in the United States in our public schools. 72%. Overwhelming numbers of Democrats, independents, and close to half of Republicans, about 46%, were in support of that policy. Teaching, again, the ongoing effects of slavery and racism in the United States in our public schools. What does that sound like? It's almost as if there's like a term for that. Critical something. I don't know. Well, let's continue with the poll. Americans also overwhelmingly oppose, 76% to 21%, efforts by state governments to ban certain books from school classrooms and libraries. Books that happen to deal with subjects like racism or LGBTQ. The opposition to state bans crosses party lines, including 86% of Democrats, 78% of independents, and 66% of Republicans. I don't know, man. It feels to me like a lot of Americans are woke. Even if they might not call themselves woke, it's reflected in the things that they prefer. But wait. Here's where it gets interesting. Here's where the effects of conservative media come into play. You see, when asked about teaching critical race theory, which is not taught in K through 12 education, by the way, the results changed, unsurprisingly. Okay. Now, those surveyed actually opposed 53% to 41% the teaching of critical race theory, which, as we know, actually examines, get this, the ongoing effects of slavery and racism in the United States. Literally the same definition, but when you call it critical race theory, which again has been demonized by conservative media, suddenly like, oh my God, no, we're totally against that. But wait, the only thing that changed is the name. The policy or the material is exactly the same. And it goes back to, again, how effective right-wing media messaging really is. And of course, the failure of Democrats to fight that, to actually engage on this issue and to talk about this issue, to message this. It brings me back to, for example, in Kentucky. They asked people about, and this is way back, like 2014, 2015. Do you like Obamacare? People would ask, regular people in Kentucky, hey, do you like Obamacare? I hate it. God damn. I hate that Obamacare. But they loved the exchanges that were set up through Obamacare in the state of Kentucky. Like, oh, yeah, no, I love my state exchange. Yeah, no, it's really helpful. Yeah. But I hate that Obamacare. That's socialism. But then, of course, you ask the same people, hey, should we have, single universal health care? The majority of Americans, even Republicans, are like, yeah, of course we should have universal health care. But Medicare for all, well, yeah, actually kind of sounds good. But Obamacare, socialism. I mean, it all comes down to wordplay. Okay, it's all terms. And that's why, by the way, Mandel can get away with saying things like, oh, very few people identify as very liberal, because again, a lot of that, it's just words. It doesn't mean anything, and the words don't mean anything anymore. And a lot of times it's used as a pejorative, at least in right-wing circles. Oh, hell, on the left, you get called a liberal. You're like, what the hell, man? Why are you calling me a liberal? I'm a leftist. I'm a sock down, or I'm a socialist. So, I mean, again, even in the left, those labels get applied. But anyway, when it comes down to it, though, the majority of Americans support progressive policies, leftist policies. What do I mean by that? Social Security. Social Security is a leftist policy. That's it. Data for Progress found an overwhelming majority of likely voters, about 78%, are in favor of expanding Social Security, which would impose payroll taxes on Americans making more than $250,000 a year to shore up Social Security. That is a progressive idea, taxing the rich and using it to fund Social Security. 85% of Democrats, 75% of independents, and 72% of Republicans support that idea. Voters across party lines, 74%, are also in favor of keeping Social Security a federal program, the government, instead of privatizing it. 80% of Democrats, 69% of independents, and 73% of Republicans hold that view. Keep it in the federal government. Do not privatize it. For God's sakes, we do not want Social Security, our retirement program that we pay into all our working lives, to be, in the hands of Wall Street. Nearly half of all voters want to increase funding for Medicaid. 89% believe that the funding for the program should either be increased or remain the same. And you can go on and on. Policy after policy that's progressive, raising the minimum wage, taxing rich people. All of these things are popular across the board. They're progressive ideas. Now, are Republican, and they're populist ideas. Now, are Republicans pushing those policies? No. Well, let me actually go back. There is one, at least that is, they're talking about, we're not going to do anything about, we're not going to allow them to cut Social Security. We're not going to raise the retirement age. And that's Donald Trump. Donald Trump bringing out the fake populism and saying, yeah, we're not going to touch Social Security. We're not going to touch Medicare. And how dare you try to do that? Whereas, of course, Ron DeSantis, he rightly pointed out during one of his recent Iowa speeches, Iowa rallies, that Ron DeSantis had supported cutting Social Security. So hitting them with populism, Donald Trump's really good at doing that. Even though, of course, when he does get into office, what he does is cut taxes for the rich and deregulate industry. Deregulated the banks, deregulated the trains. You get it. Serving corporations. Because when corporations give Donald Trump money, what, you think he's not going to take the money and do what the corporations want him to do? Yeah, of course he does. Of course he does. What? I'm not a dummy. You give me money. Of course I'm going to help you out. And it's going to help me out too. Yeah, of course. So now, that said, Republicans, most of the Republican Party are not pushing these policies. In fact, they're opposed to progressive policies, which is why they have to do these culture war narratives, these distractions, and basically call everything woke. And that's really their plan.
The wokers.
That's why they're all screaming and just applying the word woke to anything that they don't like. It's a catch-all. It's a catch-all. So, and again, there's a distraction here, a distraction tactic to basically get everyone to fight each other instead of seeing what we do have in common. And of course, there's a lot of differences between the right and the left, especially on social issues. But among voters, there are things that we do have in common. And one of those commonalities is the fact that we are both being robbed by the rich and powerful, by corporations and wealthy donors. So, getting back to Mandel, what's your definition of woke? Well, here it is.
Woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. It's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
Is it though? Is it really? Is it hard to define it in a 15 seconds? Well, I mean, we spent an entire chapter BSing about something that I can't really explain. And because I am bullshit. No, you know what the definition of woke is? It means to be aware of social injustice. That's it. And it started from Black vernacular. That's it. So basically, you were aware and awake, and you see injustice. That's it. Most Americans, by the way, 56% of those surveyed, getting back to that poll, gave that correct answer. They said, yeah, it means you're aware and awake and realize that there is social injustice in this country. That's really it. Now, that included not only 3/4 of Democrats, but also 1/3 of Republicans who gave that correct answer. That said, the majority of Republicans, 60%, said that being described as woke is actually insulting. Oh, woke. How dare you call me a woker?
The wokers.
It's amazing. How dare you be awake and aware? No, we want you back to sleep. We want you back to sleep. No, that's what it comes down to, though. They want you to close your eyes, to go back to sleep, and ignore how the wealthy and powerful are actually robbing you. That's what they're doing. Now, one more note of irony here. Look, a lot of the injustice that people who are woke, are aware of, faced by Black people in this country, was really designed as a way to prevent them from sharing in wealth and gaining political power in this country. Remember, slaves were brought over in this country as property. They were economic property of, wealthy plantation owners. They were essentially tools, okay, in order to help them make more money, to generate them wealth. Free labor. That's essentially what it was. And so a lot of the systemic racism that came from this system of chattel slavery, and then afterwards, was aimed at keeping black people from getting education. Again, the reason that slave owners did not want black people to get an education is because an education would make them rebel against their masters, So that was the most dangerous thing, educating them. They didn't want them to get an education. And then after they were freed, they did not want them buying or owning property. They didn't want them building businesses. In fact, we had Black Wall Street that was destroyed. And this is a very wealthy black area filled with businesses. They didn't want black people accruing wealth. And they did not want them gaining political power and being able to make decisions on a political level. That's really it. So the people with the money and the power, which happened to have been white people, of course, at the time, white landowners specifically, wanted to keep their power and prevent other people from getting it. That's basically it. That's what it comes down to. This fight over woke is really a fight over information. Information that the elite in this country, who have benefited from, again, centuries of oppression that they have levied towards marginalized communities, using them as free labor and then keeping them down economically, is a way for them to keep themselves at the top. They want to continue to be on the top by keeping other people down. Conservative leaders in this country, they want to define woke. They want to redefine woke because they're afraid of what happens when people realize that there are systemic and economic and as well as social tools of oppression that have been used and still have an effect on people and are still used. If people know about these tools and know about the way that people have been oppressed and the reasons why to keep them from getting power and money, it would completely obliterate them and all of their economic arguments, as well as their culture war racist narratives. And maybe, again, if people are aware of the real issues, they would become united against those who are trying to keep marginalized communities and everyone else, workers, down. It's just my thoughts, though. Okay. Let's go to Marjorie Greene. Big surprise on this one. Let's see. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene might have accidentally revealed some classified information during a hearing about the border. Take a look.
Chief Ortiz, are you aware that there was an explosive device found by Border Patrol agents on January 17th in an area called No Man's Land, and there's surveillance of who put it there? And guess what? It wasn't Americans, it was cartels. Are you aware of that?
Thank you, Congresswoman, and good to see you again. I will tell you that some of this information that I receive in a confidential skiff, so I'm going to be a little hesitant of briefing what I know and what I don't know with respect to some of those, an event like that.
I understand, Chief Ortiz, but I'm not going to be confidential because I think people deserve to know. Our Border Patrol agents should not be in those type of conditions where they are at risk of being blown to pieces by the cartels, who, by the way, are criminals, and they should be treated as such. As a matter of fact, I've co-sponsored legislation to declare war on the cartels because they are definitely declaring war on us.
Yeah, I mean, I will not stay quiet. Oh, yeah, really? That's a big surprise. The people deserve to know about the bomb in no man's land. Look, I can only imagine she wanted to do this because she wants to incite a panic. She knows her base. She knows that they're massively fearful. And I'm not saying the cartels aren't dangerous. Of course they're dangerous, right? But what's the logical, result, I guess? What is a policy prescription that Marjorie Greene has? What would she actually want to do to, fight against the cartels? What, does she want to invade Mexico or something? I mean, come on, that'd be an absolutely ridiculous idea. I mean, who would want to invade Mexico? Oh. That would be her plan. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh. Okay. So I guess you kind of answer that question. So obviously, it would be the invasion of a sovereign country using our military to strike at cartels over the border. Again, it would be likely without their permission to do so, which would be considered to be an invasion and have massive international ramifications. And so it would be a pretty terrible idea. And even if somehow they got the okay, oh, sure, Mexico says, go ahead, just bring your army over the border and go and destroy the cartels. Well, that wouldn't work either, okay? Because, well, we only have to look at history to see how something like that would work out, because we actually did do that in several different occasions. Yes, we used the military to target drugs. There was a whole thing, I don't know if you're aware of this, it was called the drug war. Yeah. In Colombia, for example, the U.S. actually had spent about $12 billion between the years 2000 and 2021 on counter-narcotics and counter-terrorism in Colombia. And not only did we, of course, our actions help to further destabilize the country, but it turns out the amount of drugs that were produced in Colombia increased. They actually started making more drugs. In fact, in 2019, there were actually more hectares cultivated with coca leaf used to create cocaine in Colombia, 212,000 than 2 decades earlier, which was 160,000. Market increase. Oh, but that's not the only example, of course. American counter-narcotics efforts in Afghanistan also ended in a massive failure. According to the Washington Post analysis of confidential government interviews and documents, the $9 billion spent on fighting Afghanistan's opium and heroin production ended up actually being about, quote, perhaps the most feckless of all the failures in Afghanistan. Oops. By 2018, Afghan farmers were growing poppies on 4 times as much land as they were in 2002. Operation Iron Tempest, meant to cripple Afghanistan's opium production labs, folded within a year. Many of the suspected labs turned out to be empty, mud-walled compounds, noted the Post. So here we have 2 good examples of how the war on drugs, how using the military to take on drugs and drug, dealer cartels, whatever, ended in massive failure. In fact, when it comes to who won the war on drugs, decidedly, it was the drugs. The drugs won. Yeah. Look, aside from wasting billions of dollars, At least, not only in Afghanistan, which again, a mess, but in Latin America, it's a mess. It's a mess. We spent billions of dollars, and it's a mess. In fact, Latin America is one of the most violent regions in the world, and the criminalization of drugs has led to the proliferation of black market activity, which again is not a surprise. It's exactly what happens. You also have more an increase in a lot of these countries' prison populations. You have corruption in the government, and an increase, of course, in drug gang-related murders, deaths. At least half of the violent deaths in Colombia, El Salvador, Honduras, Mexico, and Venezuela are estimated to be drug-related, according to the World Economic Forum. So now the result of all this just means that people have wanted to flee these countries to get away from all of this death. And they usually will go to the United States. Now, the same people who, ironically, are demonized by Marjorie Greene are the ones, again, who are fleeing the conditions created by the policies championed by Marjorie Greene. Huh. Yes, using the military to launch War on Drugs 2.0, or whatever the hell she wants to call it, would create more violence and more refugees. And of course, waste more money and not do anything about drugs. This wouldn't solve the issue. Look, one of the big reasons, I should say the main reason, that drugs are coming into the country is because there's a demand for them. They make money. Turns out, Americans, we want them drugs. So look, if you address the root causes for the demand of those drugs and don't criminalize them, in fact, we should decriminalize them at the very least. We should also increase funding for people with addictions to help get them off the drugs, target a lot of the social issues that people start doing drugs in the first place. This, solving these diseases of despair, et cetera, et cetera. Well, then you would do a lot to blunt the cartels. If you reduce the demand, they're conservatives. They should know this, right? Supply and demand. You reduce the demand, there's going to be less of the supply because they're not going to make money off this. There wouldn't be need to smuggle drugs across the border. But understand, though, where Marjorie Greene is coming from, what she ultimately believes. She believes that every situation can be, solved with violence. Use the military. Use the cops. Crush them. Destroy them. That doesn't work. She is she's basically advocating using the military as a hammer. Because the problem, which is a very, nuanced issue here, involving addiction, immigration, all these different things that are connected. She's simplifying it and saying, well, this problem is a nail, and so we're just going to get stick the military on it. We'll blow up, we'll blow our way through everything. That's it. We'll just bomb our way through our problems. And in that way, she is no different than the neocons that she claims that she is not part of. Anybody who says that, oh no, she is for peace. She is anti-war. No, she is here literally advocating for another war on drugs. Anti-war my ass. And of course, not going to solve any of the problems. In fact, she just makes some of the problems worse. But that's who she is. That's what she's good at, making problems worse. Okay. Moving on. A related story. I know. Don't worry, it's going to be fun though. Marjorie Green is saying, if anyone's going to attack my country, it's going to be me. Well, it would explain her support of the J6, prisoners. Okay. Not long after Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter, he had fired, infamously, the entire trust and safety team, pretty much. And that, of course, led to the return of not only some of the worst people on the internet, like neo-Nazis, transphobes, but apparently Mexican drug cartels. Now using Twitter to recruit. Oops. According to a new study, Musk's vastly reduced Twitter safety oversight has allowed Mexican cartel members to first get back on Twitter, flaunt their lifestyle, post violent content of, the things that they're doing, again, murders, crimes, etc., and to, of course, recruit new members. This is according to a report published last week by the Alliance to Counter Crime Online. So cartel members, they explained, would often flaunt their crimes on social media while glamorizing their gangster lifestyle, according to the report. High-profile members also use the platform to recruit new members and post violent videos, according to a retired ICE Special Agent Victor Avila. Now, let me just say, fuck ICE, abolish ICE, get rid of them. I despise them. But at the same time, that's exactly what they're using Twitter for. Yes, they're going on Twitter and they're saying, please, hey, come join us. You want to live the gangsta lifestyle? You want money? You want cars? You want bitches? You want drugs? We got them all. We got it all. Come join us. Now, Twitter, Twitter is supposed to have rules to enforce them, and technically they do. But without a trust and safety team, they can't really do a whole lot. They can't really respond fast enough to just remove this stuff off the platform. So, again, ironic, right? Hey, Elon Musk, I thought you were supposed to make Twitter safer. Now, it turns out, since Elon Musk has taken over, Twitter's less safe. Again, not only are some of the worst people back on the platform, including the neo-Nazis, the racists, the bigots, the transphobes, the people that, threaten trans people online, dox them, etc. Oh, now you have people back online that are also posting child porn. So congratulations, Elon Musk. I thought one of your top priorities was to remove that stuff. Huh. Oh, it turns out, no, you didn't. Because look, and it's not because Elon Musk likes those particular things. I'm not saying that, no. But what happened was Elon Musk doesn't know how to run a social media company. I mean, again, he literally fired pretty much everyone who knows what the hell they're doing. And so there's no one left to mind the store. There's no one left to run the place. Now, again, technically, Twitter has a violent and hateful entities policy, which in theory bars violent organizations from promoting illegal activity. Now, this existed before Elon Musk and admittedly wasn't all that great. But the ACCO, however, determines that policy has not been universally enforced because there's, again, just not enough people to do so. In fact, cartel activity, according to the report, on Twitter is hiding in plain sight. Narco accounts are mostly open to the public and not difficult to find. Conducting a quick search on key cartel names produces dozens of results. Well done. They also added that Twitter's already scanned efforts to remove violating content and block Mexican cartel members' accounts were made worse when the social media safety team was dismantled. Now, look, here's the thing, though. Twitter doesn't care. Elon Musk doesn't care. Like a lot of people, they've had difficulties reaching Elon Musk. In fact, News Nation had reported this, and they attempted to reach Elon Musk. They attempted to reach Twitter. in order to say, hey, look, were you aware that there's all sorts of Mexican drug cartel accounts that are glorifying and promoting and using your platform to recruit? Like, you might want to step up and do something about that. No response from Elon Musk. But Elon Musk will respond to the 3 a.m. cat turd 2 call when he's not getting enough engagement on his tweets. He'll respond to the Babylon Bee, but not apparently to people pointing out that there's a serious issue with his platform. And again, it's because he does not care. The only reason that Elon Musk bought Twitter to begin with is so that he could be popular with the right wing. That's it. He wanted to be epic, cool, 4chan tech meme bro. That's it. Trust and safety, don't give a damn. What trust and safety? No, I'm gonna invite on. I'm gonna bring back all my hateful, bigoted friends because they think I'm cool. He would frantically email engineers to boost his own engagement because President Biden on a tweet got more engagement, got higher numbers. So he tweaked his own algorithm. He had his engineers tweak the algorithm because he doesn't do anything himself. He's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. He got people to tweak the algorithm to boost him by something like, I don't remember the percentage. It was a lot. Artificially boosting him above everyone else in the feed. Me. That's what it's about. That he's just trying to be the popular guy. I just want to be cool. I just want people to love me. Well, you know what? Nobody's going to love you. Nobody even likes you. Not even Cat Turd likes you. These right-wingers you're trying to engender, some sort of rapport with, they despise you. They think you're an idiot, a tool. That's what it is. But look, and again, what he's been doing, instead of actually prioritizing safety on the platform, he's tweeting right-wing conspiracy theories about Paul Pelosi, mocking a disabled employee, which got him or could get him into possible legal trouble. He's doing that stuff. That's the real goal of Elon Musk. Just to have a platform where everyone thinks he's cool. This is a vanity project. And in the result, and of course, seeking this vanity, this validation from people, he's allowed the worst people to get back on the platform and spread their hateful and violent messages. And has also apparently allowed Twitter to become a great recruiting tool for dangerous people and movements. I would not be surprised to see ISIS accounts or, terrorist accounts back on there using Twitter, because without a trust and safety team, why not? Who's going to stop them? Yeah. Okay. Elon seems to be very Trumpian. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. You're correct about that. Please do not compare Elon to tools. I like tools, and tools are useful. Fair. Okay, hold on.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Okay. Let's move on here. And we're going to go to, of course, how Republicans are trying to make people's lives worse. Shocker. Republicans are, once again, showing their priorities when it comes to the budget. And big surprise, that priority involves screwing over poor people. Shocker. Now, the latest example here is Representative Dusty Johnson. Okay. Yeah, really? Dusty Johnson?
Tallywhacker.
Oh, yeah, I had to. he introduced legislation to expand work requirements. So these work requirements are, of course, in order to qualify for the SNAP program, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. So now, Johnson's proposal would basically reduce state discretion over eligibility rules and expand the definition of able-bodied adults without dependents to include people in their 50s and early 60s, in fact, up to 65. Current cutoff is 49. So basically what he's saying is, old people, get back to work. Get back in the mines. How dare you take food stamps? No, you have to work. So now, of course, there's a huge problem with that. There's a lot of discrimination towards older Americans in the workforce. People who are 50 or 60, it's a lot more difficult for them to get a job, to get hired for a job that is decent. Okay? And so oftentimes when they are able to find jobs, they end up having to work for very, low wage employers and having to get on food stamps. Now, ironically, of course, that means that they're working. And so the work requirement for those people wouldn't do anything because they're already having to work. There are already work requirements. This is just an expansion of them, but still, it's ridiculous. And really, I'm going to get to why the cruelty is the point here. Because look, if you are an older person and you lose your job, you can't find a new one as a result of this, age discrimination, which is a very real thing. Well, Republicans are telling you, sad day for you. You can't get food stamps. You're going to have to do, you're going to have to find work. Now, Republicans are saying that this is a necessary change and are even threatening to default on the debt and not raise the debt ceiling, which, of course, they'll never do because that would tank the entire economy. And really, most importantly, and this is why they would care, wipe out their stock portfolios. So, understand that they don't need to threaten the debt ceiling because at the end of the day, they're still going to raise it no matter what. They're not going to put their personal fortunes in jeopardy for anything. Just anything. So let's get that clear. It's all theater. But again, this is theater that is trying to force the Democrats into passing a plan that will not have really any impact on the debt whatsoever. And we'll get to the details on that. And it's just mainly there to be cruel. That's what it's about. So now, if we look at the debt, we look at the deficit, right? Republicans will tell you, oh, it's the biggest danger in the world. We've got to cut spending. We've got to cut spending. Okay, well, do you know how much food stamps cost a budget? Well, federal spending on the USDA's food and nutrition assistance programs in 2021 hit a high of $182.5 billion. Now, the following year, it actually went down to $149 billion, and it's actually scheduled to go down even further in 2023. So now, that first year that I mentioned, 2021, was higher than usual as a result of the pandemic. That's understandable, right? So now you might think, oh my God, $149 billion in 2022. Wow, well, that's a lot of money. Oh my God. No, it's actually not. Because the average monthly SNAP benefit per enrollee in 2022, when it cost $149 billion, was about $230 per person. Or about $7 a day. So, no, that's not for meal. That's for the entire day. You have to eat 3 meals on $7. And by the way, that actually includes the emergency pandemic nutrition benefits, which in 32 states is going away. So actually, you take that $230 and you take away about $82 from that, because that's the average. It's like somewhere $82 to $90 for that additional emergency pandemic benefit. And what do you get? You get around $150 per person for an entire month of food. At a time where we have inflation, you have grocery costs that are at least 10% higher. So understand, these people are not living high in the hog. That's not a lot of money to survive on. Now, as for the budget itself, food aid accounts for about 2%. 2% of the budget total. The change that is being introduced by Dustin Johnson
Tallywhacker.
would actually not really have an impact at all. Only about 3% of the 42.6 million people who receive food assistance would be affected by this. And that's because most adults who are under 65 and who get SNP benefits are already working or are temporarily in between jobs. Johnson's legislation also would remove states' ability to request a waiver for the work requirement from the Department of Agriculture if states lack enough available jobs to hire enrollees. But look, as I pointed out here, this is not about the budget. This is about what it's always about, punishing poor people. If Republicans wanted to take on the budget and actually do something substantial, then you would go after the $20 billion plus in oil and gas subsidies. Why are we giving the richest corporations on the planet subsidies? Why are we giving all these corporations billions and billions of dollars in handouts? It's amazing to watch these Republicans who voted during the Trump administration to cut over $2 trillion in taxes, mainly for rich people, complain now about the debt. And then go on to say, well, of course, what we have to do is we have to go after some of the most vulnerable people. That's what we have to do. No, it's not going to do anything about the debt. Yeah, we could rein in military spending as well. That would do something for the debt. But both Republicans and Democrats continuously vote to add even more money to the Pentagon. But they're never worried about that debt. No, not at all. But when it comes to, feeding people, well, then we can't do that. How are we going to pay for that? How are we going to pay for that? They're sociopaths. That's all it is. They're sociopaths. It's the only way to describe them. Taking the meager amount of food assistance away from people who need it for really no discernible impact on the debt or deficit at all, it's just cruelty. It's cruelty for cruelty's sake. That's it. That's it. All right. So, we'll leave the money laundering story for tomorrow. No Republican cares about the debt when the president is one of them. Yeah, it's very, very true. Very, 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 very true. I am going to read some super chats, though. Tyler Heckner says, and thank you for being a member. It's a member comment. All right, hold on. Let me get this off the screen first. Tyler Heckner says, conservatives love talking about things they have no idea and using terms they don't have any idea how to define. It's real tiring as all hell.
Yes!
Agreed. Cindy D, thank you for being a member. She says, woke is defined by African Americans as being alert to racial discrimination. White conservatives have hijacked the term to suit their own interests.
Yes!
Yeah. Gabby Mathis, thank you for gifting gifting 3 memberships on YouTube. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much for doing so. Let's see. Thank you for watching, Twitch community. Thank you, Facebook, as well. Funny how deficits tend to go down under Democratic presidents, says Sarah West. That's true. Republicans are the party of cruelty. Also true. Let's see. A couple more comments here. Marge should not have a security clearance. She's a walking security risk. Yep. Derek Jennings says, thank you for giving the correct meaning for the term woke. My community has been using that term for years and years, and the Republicans have just destroyed the meaning, so thank you. Well, I mean, not. Well, thank you for making that comment, and yeah, I try to come correct, you know. They have turned that into a pejorative. They've twisted the meaning to basically mean anything that they don't like. And it's, I don't know, it's offensive, I guess. But not in like a, ooh, I'm offended kind of way. No, it's like, no, you guys are like, these right-wingers are idiots, and they're talking about things that they don't actually know anything about. Or, of course, are using those very terms to try to obfuscate what they really want to do, and that's to uphold white supremacy and systems of those very same systems of oppression by making sure that nobody knows about them, which is why they hate education. But yes, all right. Lisa Zarnik says they just want working Americans for servitude and to pay taxes, and for the rich to not pay taxes. Exactly. All right. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Thank you for the show. For joining me for the show. I appreciate it. And the patience, of course. Yeah. Let's read in here to yeah, let's do a watch list raid today. Everybody, thank you all. Have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Hopefully in time. Yeah, I'll have to get after my producer on that one. Love you all, and remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation.
I have not loved this conversation.
Woke mob.
Internet.
Civilians in Venezuela. Peachtree dish.
Disappointed! You idiot!
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.